What's up, guys? So this is Real Paranormal Stories, episode 2 in season 9. So this episode is going to be different. So I said that I was going to talk about cold spots, but I decided that there should be at least one episode that's not just dealing with that. Change it up a little bit. So for this episode, for both Paranormal Adventures and Real Paranormal Stories, I'm going to talk about something that very creepy happened. My father, he worked for the sheriff's department for around 25-30 years, and he's had a lot of creepy calls, but he talked about me with this one. And this happened, I don't know when, I should have asked him when it happened, but it had to happen at least between 8 months to a year, maybe just a little bit longer than that. So now when I tell this story on Paranormal Adventures, I want to say like it happened like at a house. I'm not going to say where it happened and the person and all that stuff, but yeah. So this man was driving his car, and he turns this one street. I'll just say street, I don't know, Z, I don't know. And so he turns right, and he's driving, and then he sees a motorcycle, just in the middle of the street. So he gets out of his car. He thinks that's very weird, and so he calls 911. My dad picks up, and he says, "It's in the middle of the street?" He's like, "Yeah." Like, it was just sat here, and my dad said, "Is there any damage?" And he's like, "No, it was as if it was just placed there." So the man says, "Should I move it? Because when I always pass this street, the cars always go fast." And he's like, "Yeah, just for safety, just move it to the side of the road." So, but the neighbor across the street comes out. He's like, "Is everything okay?" He just says a name, and he's like, wait, this bike is his?" And he's like, "Yeah." He's like, "Why?" And he's like, "It was just in the middle of the street, as if it was placed there." And he's like, so about a minute later, some 5-0 comes. I think 3 comes out, and they're like, and there's no damage. There was no damage whatsoever. There was no, and I checked. A motorcycle weighs a lot, and when you lift it up, if you were caught red-handed, you would just drop it. And so I first thought it could have been 5-0 that did this, like a person. But then my dad said no, and then it went through my head that, because my father thought the same thing, but then I thought in my head, if it was somebody, why would you just keep it in the middle of the street? So it can't be that. But I'm going to backtrack a little bit. So actually, no, I won't backtrack a little bit. But so they put the motorcycle in the thing, and when they put it in the thing, they see that the door is open. So like, oh shoot, there could be somebody could have obviously broke in. So they go inside, and there's 8 droplets of blood. So I thought nosebleed. And that's exactly what it was, nosebleed. But there was only 8 droplets of blood. That's it. And I'm like, and I asked my dad, was there any tissues like thrown away? Was there anything that it could have been caught on something? And he said, no, there's nothing. And I'm like, oh my god. So nothing was misplaced. Nothing was gone, just the door was open, and there's 8 droplets of blood. And there's no blood outside, and there was no blood anywhere else around the entire house. So I'm like, oh my god. So all of a sudden, they see a barn. So they go in there, and there is a man in there. And he's like, wait, don't do anything, I live here. And they're like, wait, what? They're like, yeah. And they're like, you live here? Yeah. And that's your house? Yes. And you were here the whole time? And he's like, I've been here since 2:15. And they're like, and you never went inside? He's like, no, I have an alarm. I locked the door, and I came out here to situate some things. Because I was going to be going away for a while, because I was going to go with some buddies, because we go every year to this cabin. And they're like, and you heard nothing? He's like, no. He's like, I have security cameras. So they look at the security cameras. Now, his cameras are on a little bit of delay. I think they said 10-second delay. Maybe 3 seconds, something like that. I forgot. But it was barely a time difference that would make a difference. No, I think it was 3 seconds. So he has 10 security cameras. So at around 4:30, you see the door open, but there's no shadow, no nothing. There's nothing. And you just see it open, and then after the 3 seconds, you see it close. Now, my first thought is that lockpick, but there was no evidence of anything. There was no forced entry, nothing. Just that the door opened, it closed at some point, and then it opened again. So I'm like, and there was nothing. So like, I'm like, how do you? Because when you get a nosebleed, the bleeding is not going to stop unless you like do the up this, or you do the tissue thing or something like that. But there was nothing. So then the neighbor who asked if his other neighbor was okay, he also has security cameras. So they look at the security camera, and all you see is at around 4:30, 4:45, you see the motorcycle. You don't even see the motorcycle come in. Now I said, was there any track marks? And there was nothing. There was no evidence that even a motorcycle even passed by anything. There was not even footprints. Nothing. And I'm like, oh my god, that is creepy as hell. And they didn't catch anything. They didn't even catch a shadow on the thing. And they looked for fingerprints. There was nothing. And I said that even if you have gloves on, the gloves are going to come up. And not even that. So then another neighbor came by, and they asked this lady questions. She's like, I got up by 4 o'clock. I always have my coffee, and I always sit in front of my dining room, and I have windows that look right out onto the street, and I didn't see anything. I only took one bathroom break, and that was just because I had to get something real quick, and it must have been maybe 10 seconds. And when I came back, there was still no motorcycle, and I'm like, oh my god. And so they checked everywhere. Could there have been a call before? And there was. So there was a call at 30 minutes prior before the second call came in. And so my dad listened to it, and it was creepy as hell. The person sounded like a smoker, or someone that had, like, maybe lung cancer or something like that to effect. And the phone call lasted 2 minutes, and then it just cut abruptly. But then the guy said that I reported my motorcycle stolen. And they're like, wait, what? So he was at a bar for 2 hours, from 12 to 2. Got home at around 2:15. And when they come out, the bar had one security camera, but nothing came up at all. So they were like, they come out, there was nothing there. And so I thought, okay, it could have been one of his friends. But even if it was one of his friends, nobody has a key. And if you were trying to mess with them, why would you put the bike in the middle of the street? And there was no track marks whatsoever. So how the hell did the bike get there without any track marks? No evidence of even a person even holding the bike. There's only 8 droplets of blood, not outside and only in one spot. And the barn has a camera, and all they see is the door open, the door closed, and then open again. So, yeah, creepy as hell. Yep. I don't know how to explain it. To me, it's paranormal because I can't explain it. So, yeah, so that is it. So make sure to like and subscribe. I'll talk to you guys later.